and scores!
Great move by Davies. Well, this would be something. Ausgezeichnet!
Brian White chips, it'll make it!
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Caps Cast, presented by Whitecaps Fan TV. As always, I am joined by my lovely co-host, Damien here. I think we're a little late this week. We had a very devastating result, which threw off the mood yesterday with the England game.
Bit of heartbreak there, but we move on.
We're
we always do in English.
We're an MLS Whitecaps Canada / rest of football centered podcast, but yeah, that one cut deep yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
But shame about the results, but at least we had a great view. Sat right next to the TVs there. I don't want to wind you up there. But we've got some positives. If we look at our beloved Whitecaps, we are finally at the end of our what feels like forever road trip.
It's been a very, very long time. It feels like we've actually been in BC Place watching the game.
June 27th, right? Or was it 29th, right? So 5 games in 15 days is what the total tally was. The Whitecaps, I wouldn't say escape, but very positively navigated that with 4 wins and 1 draw.
Yeah, what more can you ask for on 5 games away from home? And 5 games in 15 days. Sorry, not the all away from home, but still.
No, those were all away games too. That is all away games.
That's incredible, actually. Yeah, you're right. It was Wednesday, Saturday every week,
and arguably coast to coast with traveling to the island. We'll touch on that. But yeah, I would say I remember on our 3rd episode now, we were sat there being like, oh, if we can escape with a draw here and a win there, this would be like great. But we were completely proven wrong, in a good way. I would say we came with a perspective of conservatism where we were very conservative in our output. Seeing is that both me and you were like, obviously every game will back the Caps. Obviously every game. But I mean, we also have to be realistic that this was a lot of travel.
Yeah, and as we said last week, Didier Drogba once said that it's the hardest league in the world because of the travel. So with all that taken into consideration, to have all these wins, 4 wins and 1 draw, that is very, very, very impressive.
Yeah.
And the wins, I know the one in Pacific was just the 1 goal, which we'll get to afterwards, but the wins have been very good wins.
And it's something
unbelievable wins.
It hasn't shot us up the standings, which is kind of what me and you are saying is going to happen. It's going to happen. But we've kept our course, and we still have those 2 games in hand, which we'll look at a bit later. But yeah, so I guess let's just dive right into it. So last week we saw the Whitecaps take that very gruesome ferry ride to Victoria. And then just a pop, skip, and a jump down to Langford to Starlight Stadium. First half, very much more just I think they played a bit more conservative. Gauld ends up scoring the winner from Laborda in the 58th minute. And I think just overall maybe it didn't look like a dominating game, but with 60.8% possession, I feel that we kind of ran away with it. Did what we needed to do.
Yeah, it was a strange game to watch. We almost dominated possession without any of the cutting edge that we actually needed to find the goals. And like even the goal from Gold, it just came from like a swung-in ball. By the way, Laborda's ball into the box,
Beautiful.
phenomenal. Like wow. But yeah, it was just a game devoid of any real cutting edge from both sides.
And
It was a weird one.
I mean, these cup games are always weird because I think you're playing also an element of unknown.
Yeah.
You know, if this was a team we were playing, like we were very familiar with, like say this was like a Seattle or a Portland,
Yeah.
I think tactically you know what you can expect. But when you do play these, I mean, these other teams from the Canadian Premier League that I mean is considered a league down, you really don't know what you're going to get, and it's very similar to like an FA Cup where anything can really happen.
Yeah.
But the Whitecaps survive, and we look forward to the return leg, which is actually quite late. So
Yeah,
we
that's
go again August
August
27th
27th.
for the second leg at BC Place.
Hmm.
And then touching on the Canadian Championship, Toronto actually experienced that unknown. So they've got some work to do.
Also, touching on that game there, the I think it was the second goal from Forge was like just like a back heel flick between his legs past the goalkeeper. It was an exceptional goal. Like you should go on YouTube and have a look at it for sure.
Yeah, it was something. But that's a shocking result. I actually don't see Toronto dropping the second leg. I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it. But
Yeah, me too.
we'll see it in August. But like we said, it's the magic of the cup. But yeah, so let's dive into our MLS stand here. We have a rematch, revisit. What do you want to call it?
No, it was a rematch. Like they must have been a bit upset after that the previous game there on the 29th.
Well, fucking bad, but I mean they conceded 4 again. But let's get into that.
But yeah, like this is a grudge match for them, going 2-0 up and then being absolutely slaughtered 4-2. 4-3 was it, sorry? But still.
Yeah, 4-3. I would also argue that the third goal in that last game was a pity goal.
Yeah.
We had wrapped it up. Brian White had scored a Puskas worthy goal, a hat trick. And so let's get into this. Let's sink our teeth into this game.
Yeah.
First of all, let's just emphasize this. Brian White is fucking back. Like
Brian White
is him.
excellent.
Brian
Holy
White is him, ladies and
He is
gentlemen.
that guy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's almost like he was like, hey, there's this new podcast starting. Listen to it. And he was like, man, these two guys kind of know what they're talking about. But my God, he is completely turned it around.
On fire. Like 7 goals in 4 games. Like a phenomenal return.
And let's not also... Okay, so let's go through this here. Brian White scores in the 9th minute off a Ryan Gauld assist. What more do you want?
And what a like typical Vancouver goal as well. It was an interception by Gauld, and then they break. Like, how many times have we seen it in the last 2 years where Gauld and White put the pressure on the back four and they fuck it up? The ball goes to one of them, and then we score from it. We have seen this multiple times.
It's that working class MVP that they were saying last year. Holy shit. Like, yeah, Ryan Gauld's been on fire. Obviously selected for the MLS All-Star team. I read today too that he's going to participate in the skills comp, whatever that is going to be. But I mean, this guy is just absolutely tearing it up as well. And then the second goal. Actually, no. Let's go into the St. Louis goal, because 17 minutes after they equalize, and I was sat there thinking like, okay, we're on the road. Obviously, something's got to give, right?
Yeah. I honestly thought though, Matt, that the goal came a little bit against the run of play. Actually, like I know we're away from home, but I thought we were like fairly dominant in that first half. They swung a pretty decent ball into the box. The first shot isn't dealt with. What can you really do there? Like the guy gets his body in the way. I think it was Upvik.
Mm-hmm.
So good block, I suppose. But then the second ball, I think it takes a deflection off somebody's leg.
Yeah.
And then goes through Takaoka's legs as well.
Yeah. It
Very
definitely
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's almost like he got caught with his pants down. Like, when it goes through your legs, you're just like, shit. Because obviously with something like that happens, it was the result of a deflection, and just so happens to go through Takaoka's legs. But speaking to what you had just said, Upvik has played incredible since getting this call up. A call up, not necessarily a call up. Like he was bought for this reason, to strengthen our back line. And I actually think that he's taken his opportunity and really like grabbed it and ran.
You know what? I had it like, so when we do this, I've got like a list of like notes and a list of points that I want to touch on like after we've gone through the game. And it was actually in my notes for after the game, just how well Upvik has done since Blackman got injured.
Yeah.
So he's had to actually come into the team. I honestly feel that Blackman is our best defender. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He's fast, he's good in the air, he's good like getting in low tackles, he can throw blocks in, interceptions, he can do it all for an MLS defender.
Yeah.
I think we're very lucky to have him. The fact that we have not missed him because Upvik has been so good, and now looking at Upvik and how he's playing, even the whole back three though, that back three of Laborda, Veselinovic and Upvik, they are very, very good together. And
it's
I know
almost
that I
like
have given Laborda some shit over the past year or so, but by God, like, over the last couple of games, even he has been excellent.
See,
like credit where it's due.
Counterpoint to you giving Laborda shit is I truly, truly believe it's because we did not have a proper wing back in front of him. And now that Raposo has kind of had to cover for Ali Ahmad almost, has kind of shown how important a wingback is defensively. I mean, it is throwing shade at Ali Ahmed, but I just like Raposo. I feel he's very underrated in that wingback position. I think we've said it multiple times. He gets forward, throws balls in. I mean, gets a goal this game because he's in the box doing what he should be doing offensively, right? And he's coming back. He's defending. He's not letting Laborda get dragged out of position from the strikers, which is the striker's job, obviously, is to pull Laborda out of formation. And I think that's why Laborda in the past has looked not as good. And I think it's just a product of that system. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, our back three right now, I think arguably is one of the better defensive sides in the MLS.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that at the moment, yeah.
Statistically, I don't know if that lines up. I'm sure elsewhere that there's something you could poke a hole in that argument, like kind of like with every argument. But yeah, I genuinely think we have one of the best backlines in the MLS.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And we have our boy Andre Cubas back.
I thought he had a very, very good game as well, though, in the middle. In fact, the whole team, like let's be honest, the whole team had a very good game against St. Louis there.
Yeah.
Played very well. Every position was covered.
I was going to say, like, I feel like everyone was just on it.
Do you know if I had to criticize one player from the whole game who looked slightly... Some of his passes were just a little bit wayward.
Go on.
Gold. And he still walks off the pitch
Two
with
assists.
2 assists and gets into the MLS Team of the Week.
I have that pulled up, actually. Brian White gets named to the starting 11 in the Team of the Week. And
nice.
Gauld's on the bench. That was published this morning. So he's on the Team of the Week. And I think you're right. His passing seemed like a touch off.
Yeah, but he still walks away with 2 assists in the game. It's incredible, really, when you think about it. And then I suppose on the second goal, that was White again, right, for us.
Oh, yeah.
That was from Fafa being put through, striking straight at the keeper. And then he does very well, to be fair, with the rebound. Getting a head onto it and, like, just doing anything with the ball in that situation and, like, actually managing to head it down. He's done very well because it, like, left Brian White with a tap-in.
Man, it's kind of like we said. His confidence is just sky high now.
Yeah.
Like, how many goals is it in these games now? Like, I know this is probably a stat I should have looked up.
He's 7-4.
7-4. That's what it is.
Yeah.
7-4
He's
games.
7-4. And I saw a stat today saying that Ryan Gold is 18 goal contributions in his last 19 MLS games, which is pretty fucking fantastic.
What do you mean pretty fantastic?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? But
yeah.
This is the age-old question that we talked about last week. Are we too over-reliant on these two?
Yeah, but who gives a shit? At the end of the day, who cares? Like, providing they don't get injured, Gold doesn't get injured. That guy would fucking, if he lost a leg, he would still be on the pitch on a stump. And he'd still be one of our best players.
Feeding him through with his other foot, heading it on.
Yeah, honest to God, he'd still get out there. Like, that's like the sort of motivation that he's got, the work ethic, the just desire to do well for us.
I mean, we've preached this at this point, that this man would do anything for the club, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if, like, there was a, like, say the kit man couldn't make it, like, I feel like Ryan Gauld would be, like, scrubbing the boots, like, collecting everything. Like, if they needed, like, someone to water the turf overnight, like, he would be there. Like, he just embodies the club.
Not the plastic grass, would he? You won't go and water that plastic grass that they've got in PC place,
if they needed someone to do it, he would do it. That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, I know what you mean. But yeah, sorry. I went off topic there a little bit. But yeah, I think we are a little bit over reliant on them both. But you know, like, look at when think about it this way: if the Barcelona team of 2012, though, if you took any two players out of that squad, Xavi and Iniesta out, Messi and David Villa, the team would crumble. They didn't have the backup and the players of that quality to go in. So it doesn't matter that we're over reliant on them, as long as they've got a good track history of staying fit and staying healthy.
And also, like, to kind of agree with you is that, like, you need to strike while the iron's hot. Yeah. Iron's hot, oven's hot. I never know how that one really goes. But, like, we need to take advantage of this chemistry now. Because I mean, it's kind of weird to say, but I feel like the June, July, August, September stretch in the MLS is when it really starts to matter.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
I know that Vanny has come out in post-game interviews and been like, okay, you know, this is the time now that we put in the work now. In October, we reap the benefits. But it's like, when you have such a condensed schedule as they do right now, these are the moments you need to seize.
Yeah. No, I agree with that as well. Like, the games that we've got coming now. Well, also, I suppose, towards the end of the season there, I think we've got a run of, out of 12 games, I think 9 are at home on the back end of the season. Which is quite a nice run that for us to be at home, having them games. So, providing we don't, absolutely fuck it on the next couple of away games, we should be pretty good, because getting back in front of our own crowd in BC Place, that should be a bit of a boost to the team. Give them a bit of encouragement.
I was gonna say, like, I feel the Kansas City game that's upcoming is going to be rocking.
Yeah, like, me too. I'm very, very excited for it.
I just, the team's starting to go. Like, we're starting to find that gear. It almost feels like that first couple weeks of the MLS season when, everything was going the right way for us. And we had started as we probably had the best start in MLS history, I think, for the Whitecaps. Not MLS history, but our MLS era.
In the Whitecaps era, yeah. We were very good at the beginning of the year there. We had a lot of games away from home, and that's when we were saying all the year, like, the away form is fantastic.
Away form.
And that was quite nice, because I think over the last couple of years, like prior to this year, the Whitecaps tend to be slow starters. Yeah. So having that little boost at the beginning there, I don't think, maybe for like 1 week, we've dropped out of the playoff spots, which we never do that. We're usually beating it around the bottom of the league for maybe the first 2 months. Then we start to slowly climb. This has been different. We've actually been in the playoffs and just holding position, which that's got to... I understand that trying to climb the table is motivating to a player, but being in a position of superiority to the 7 other teams below you has got to be something as well. Like, holding on to that has got to be super encouraging.
It's almost like when the hunter becomes the huntee.
Basically, yeah.
Like, yeah. No, I totally get what you mean. And I mean, when was the last home game? It was the 29th. So I spoke to someone after the game, and she kind of reiterated that this climb is something that we're used to. It always feels like, oh, are we going to make the playoffs? We have to push for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Our results going to go our way so we can make the playoffs? Are we going to play in the play into the playoffs? And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, is that we've now been not playing to get a playoff spot. We're playing to protect that spot.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what we did on the road, right? So we go to St. Louis. Final score is 4-1. Some positives I would take away from the game. Krelak comes on in the 93rd minute, which is good to see him back. And then our boy Sam Adekugbe comes on in the 83rd minute. So is that a sign, you think, of him returning to fitness?
I think so. I think, obviously throwing him on for the last 10 minutes there is better than risking, especially in a game like that. Why throw him on for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, risking getting injured again? Mm-hmm. Just give him 10 minutes in a bit of a competitive environment where he's not going to really have to kill himself doing anything. And yeah, I think this could be a good thing, because at the moment, I think Raposo's got the right-hand side locked down pretty tight. But the left-hand side is very much up for grabs. I think they're rotating that side at the moment between Schott and
Martins.
Yeah, Martins. And to be fair, I have really liked Schott over the last few weeks. I think he's been playing very, very well. Yeah. Some very nice football.
It's interesting, because 3 weeks ago, whenever the international break, we really kind of focused on it. So when the Copa America started, that was what, mid-June, right?
Yeah, well, end of June there. It'd have been about the 18th of June.
Okay, so 18th. So maybe our first or second episode. I remember us sitting here and being like, every time there's an international break, I feel like the Whitecaps are kind of left out to dry. We don't have that depth to cover these international breaks. Why is the MLS not aligning with the international breaks? I kind of came from a very complaint-based perspective.
Yeah.
And I think Vanny has navigated this bang on, and it's all due to how he's managed the lineups and how he's motivated those players that maybe they were rotational players to really, I don't know, become starters or
just seize the opportunity.
Be in that conversation that, okay, when we get Ali Ahmed back, when we get Kubas back, like, obviously those two are going to go back into our 11, but it's a little bit more competitiveness, a little bit more like drive from the team. And like you said,
so.
Schopf and Martins have really stepped it up.
Yeah. I do think it's an area though, still, because like we said, we've got Ali Ahmed and Raposo on the right hand side. So I think you can sort of leave that side alone for right now. But I do think there needs to be something done on the left. Like somebody bought just to come in. And even if we keep Adekube, like get somebody else that can play that position as well. Just to give him a hand and like help him out.
I was gonna say, do you think Adekube stays in this team past this season? He signed on a 2-year contract, right? When he moved over.
I think he did, yeah. It's funny, that was one of my questions that I was going to ask at the end of this as well. Like, is he going to stay? And what does he bring to the squad? Yeah, like, I honestly don't know. I think it's a lot of money on the wage bill for a player that's not very reliable. And when I'll be honest, I've never been a massive fan of him at the Whitecaps. I don't know how to say this like without coming across as a dick, but it's almost as if he thinks that he's too good for the Whitecaps. And this is only my opinion, obviously. I could be very, very wrong, but it's almost as if when he's playing, he saunters around the pitch. And you've not done anything to make it so you can saunter around the pitch and just like do nothing. Do you know what I mean?
No, totally.
So that's my problem with him, I think.
I totally get, and I think as supporters, we're not on the training ground, so we only see the body language on game day.
Yeah.
Like that's what me and you are making our opinions off of.
Yeah.
Is exactly how does any of our squad show up on game day? Because we're not on the training pitch. We're not seeing maybe on the training grounds he's, leading the team, doing something that we're not seeing, but our opinion is totally based off of match day.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I agree with you. And maybe we've been spoiled by players that have wanted to really fight for the club and like tracking back, running back, even in those moments when maybe tracking back isn't necessary. Maybe the game's stretched and we are anticipating the ball coming straight back down the wing, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah, I suppose so.
I think I agree with you, is that body language is everything.
Yeah. So, yeah, but to answer your question of then if he's going to stay on or go, I think he'll go. I don't think he'll go back to Europe. I think he'll stay in the MLS. Maybe he goes to the East Coast, plays for Toronto, but I don't think he's going to stay here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worthwhile keeping him.
It's harsh. It's harsh because he was a very important piece of the squad before he left for Europe. So his return was last year, right? That's it.
Yeah, because we got him on loan, did we? From
him and Larea
on
came
loan for a year, and then we signed him. And then he
signed. It was like him and Larea, which I honestly would have preferred to keep Larea.
Larea was good.
If me and you were sitting in the director's chair, and that was the decision to make, is that I would have really pushed for Larea.
No, me too. I agree.
That being said, like, I would absolutely be over the moon for us in 2 weeks' time to be proven wrong and sat here and saying, well, that was a fucking ridiculous opinion. Like,
not we assholes.
Like, and I mean, you could say it about Fafa right now. Is we sat there last week being like, he doesn't want to play, he doesn't look that good, but he gets an assist and a goal.
And to be fair, he had the goal disallowed as well.
Oh yeah.
I want to say the goal that was disallowed though, the way that Shop comes in and dispossesses him and takes the ball away from him is sensational. Like, that's what I mean. Like, he has been playing so well in the last couple of weeks. He comes in, takes his ball, it bounces up. For me, it's not enough. Like, if it was handball, it is the most minimalistic, slightest bit of handball that I have ever seen in my entire life.
And we've said this. The handball rule is so gray.
Yeah.
And they were saying on the MLS broadcast, like, oh, is the rotation of the ball changed because of his hand? What? Like, what? Like, that's the underlying factor now, is now they're going to watch the spin on the ball to see if it benefited him. And I didn't really, it was the harshest call, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because then he had some, like, he takes the ball then, has a little bit of, like, really nice footwork to beat the first defender, then slips in Fafa, who scores a goal.
Yeah.
And then, it's ruled out. But Fafa gets his goal anyway.
Yeah.
And again, man, I just want to, like, touch on it. Ryan Gold, it was the 91st minute of the game, and our captain is tracking back, tackling someone inside our half, running almost to the halfway line. It wasn't very far, only maybe about 10 yards. Still, runs to the halfway line and sends an inch perfect ball through to Fafa, who is already on his bike. Like, the defenders don't know where he is anymore. They've just lost, like, sight of him. Rounds the keeper and then slots it into the empty net.
And cliff notes to that is, at that time, it's already 3-1. So the fact that he's tracked back in the 91st minute to make this play, like, we are very, very spoiled right now with this. Like, we are very spoiled with this magic of Ryan Gold and Brian White.
We need to honestly hope that he doesn't realise how good he is. I hate to say it, but, like, I think losing him from the team would be almost catastrophic to the team. I think the energy that he brings to the other players, just being on the pitch, knowing that he's going to do the tracking back, he's, like, going to be running with you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, it would be.
Like,
it would be. I think I totally agree. Catastrophic is an understatement, if anything.
Yeah.
We've been very spoiled, and, like, I mean, me and you have sat and debated about this forever. Is like, oh, would he leave? Would he leave? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of rumors that, like, he just loves Vancouver. You know, it reminds him of Scotland with the mountains, things like that. Like, he's like an outdoorsy person.
How long has he been here now? Is this his 4th year?
Actually, that's a good. I don't know. Yeah, that's a really good question. Okay, let's do the old Google here.
Because I think, did Cubas come before him, and then Gold joined just a little bit later, right?
I'm trying to remember the flow here, because we had Cavallini, and then there was rumors that we used the Cavallini money to buy Ryan Gold.
Wait, somebody paid us for Cavallini.
Or did we let him go on free?
I can't believe anybody would have paid us for him.
These are things I should have done beforehand, by the way. Is look up this kind of stuff.
No, well, we didn't.
Okay.
We didn't know this was going to come up. To be fair,
We need a producer to just like bring things up on our screens, like
get Sean.
Like Jamie, pull it up, pull it up. So 28 years old, born in Aberdeen, obviously, which is what we know. So he's been with us since 2021.
2021, 2024. So
3 years.
You know what? Is there a chance? Because obviously Scotland are not going to select him for the squads. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. Because if they're selecting Scott McTominay over fucking Ryan Gold, something is wrong with whoever's in charge of the Scottish FA altogether. I think they might be a little bit bitter that he left Scotland at 16 to go to Portugal. So I think there's something there, like long lasting from that. But you can get Canadian PR, Canadian citizenship even, after 5 years. So maybe in 2025 at some point, it'd be eligible for it.
Fuck, could you imagine that?
Just before the World Cup.
I mean, that's all like hearsay, right?
Yeah.
That's all like hearsay.
That's me starting the rumor.
Oh God, let's start it. Because I mean, imagine how good he would be in that Canadian midfield that already looked very well off.
Imagine how good it'd be at the end of the fucking game when he has to give an interview and they're like, "Oh, so Ryan, how was tonight's game?" And then he like drops it in the most Scottish fucking accent you can think.
Be fantastic.
Yeah.
No, there's all those rumors going around, but I don't get why he's not being called up to Scotland. Somebody in the Scotland FA apparently has a personal vendetta with Ryan Gauld, which, to be fair, if that means he stays in Vancouver longer, go for it. Go nuts.
Yeah.
Why would you want to make the trip? Why would you want to make the trip for Scotland when you get bounced 3 games on the back in Germany? Like, maybe he's got a point.
Yeah, maybe it's him, yeah. No, not going.
But like you said, don't put him on an international level. We don't want other people to see what we've got, because this is a gem.
Yeah, it really is.
And obviously, at the beginning of the season, he's awarded the club captaincy, and I think that more than anything might cement him staying.
Well, he signed a 4-year contract as well, right?
Yeah,
so
well, yeah, that too, 4 years. But contracts are contracts, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that just means someone has to pay him for 3 more years if they were to buy him.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, more importantly, we are now sat still in 6th, which isn't bad. We've got, like, I shouldn't say, oh, we're still in 6th, because we still got 2 games in hand. So that means that we've kept pace with everybody that don't have those games in hand. And where those games in hand, me and you still have yet to sit down and do our little bit of adding, subtracting, and figure out where they lie.
In the MLS to figure it out, because in the Premier League, if there's somebody with 2 games in hand, you just look at the other teams that are missing a game. And then you're like, we play them and them. Here, you have no idea who you're playing.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we've got the 2 games in hand. And so, more importantly now, we can officially close out this St. Louis game. So we walk away 4-1, and we've put 8 past St. Louis in under a month.
Than 3 weeks.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's honestly brilliant, that, isn't it?
Hopefully the St. Louis fan club that follows us on Instagram doesn't hear this, clip it, and make a personal vendetta with us. But yeah, 8 past St. Louis. So we'll take it and run. We'll take it and run.
Play them every week.
Yeah, like, I mean, if they want to redo the schedule so we can play St. Louis a couple more times, I think we can definitely campaign for that.
Get Brian White at top of the what do you call it, Golden Boot list.
I'm just gonna. I don't think we play them again though. I'm just gonna have I'm gonna have a quick scan just in case. Okay, yeah, no, we don't play St. Louis again, so that's good. 2 games on the bounce, 8 goals. We're moving on.
So, one question I had there, Matt, as well, is with the 2 goals that Brian White has scored there, it brings his tally for the season up to 12 games. Oh, 12 goals.
What was I gonna say?
So, at the moment, second, so he's in third, joint with the likes of Lionel Messi and a few others. The second is 14 goals, and first place is, I think he plays for Cincinnati. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he's first and he's on 17. So Brian White is 5 goals off first place. Do you think it's doable that he can catch it? Well, I suppose anything's doable.
Okay. Hypothetically, no. Because there's going to be a lot of games played here on out. I would love to sit and say, like, fuck yeah, the man's got a machine gun for a leg. Everything's going to go in the net that he touches.
Yeah, you've convinced me. I'm going to put it on.
What?
That's my bet. Brian White.
Brian White for Golden Boot?
Yeah, for Golden Boot.
The Golden Boot.
Oh, fuck yeah.
What's really funny is at the launch party, they had the big table of like all the Whitecaps. So it was like, you know how they announced like the new captaincy board almost?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously Brian White was sat there and I was like, oh, Golden Boot this year. And he was like, well, that's the plan. And then I felt really bad because the first kind of couple of games he started really not poorly, but obviously he wasn't scoring. And I was like, oh God, why did I even put that out there? Like, obviously I have nothing to do with this, but just like, why the fuck would you even say that?
Man, that could have been just that little bit of pressure that pushed him over the edge. He was probably sat there like a fucking guy in the convention center.
He's like, for fuck's sakes, that fucking guy with the glasses. Okay, I mean, I think we're gonna get into a hard part of the season. Let's be realistic here. We're gonna have to play LA. We've got Dallas, San Jose, Houston, Portland again, Seattle, Minnesota, Salt Lake. So we're getting, not to discredit any of the teams that we have played, but we are going to go up against a lot tougher opposition where it's going to be a lot more pressure. I think the games are going to be a lot more closer. They're going to be a bit more tactically focused, I guess.
Yeah, maybe actually, yeah.
I would love nothing more than Brian White to score 5 goals on Wednesday, or maybe let's not get selfish here. He's going to score 2 goals on Wednesday, 3 on Saturday, and he's back in the Golden Boot race. I don't know. I think I would love for him to have that accolade. I think he deserves it. He was close last year.
Yeah, he was.
He was very close.
But I think that current form trumps everything. And within the next 5 games, he will have closed the gap to 1 goal.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it, but I think I'm going to always come from a place of negativity. Or not negativity. Not optimism either. I guess I'm just going to come from a place of like, oh, fuck, he's not going to do it. But I would love to see it. I would absolutely love to see it. Fuck it. What is it? 4502 of the podcast on, what is this, the 5th episode now? Like, mark it down. But yeah, anything else on this Kansas City game or sorry, not on the St. Louis game that you want to touch on before we move forward here?
Not too much. I just thought the Cubas and Berhalter partnership in the middle worked very, very well. I thought they were excellent together. I think that is slowly becoming the main partnership for the club.
Yeah.
I think Berhalter now has pushed Vite out completely as the starting centre mid, next to Cubas. How
hard are you celebrating that?
No. You know what? If he was, I hate to say it, but if Berhalter started playing like shit, I'd be as critical of Berhalter as I've been of Vite. At the end of the day, they're there to do a job. Do you know what I mean?
That's why people like us exist.
Yeah.
We got to call it out and we got to talk about it. We need talking points. And I agree. If Berhalter decided to have 3 absolute stinkers of a game, we'd be pushing for Vite. And I think vice versa.
Even on Wednesday here, if Vite starts, has an absolute blinder of a game, and has a very, very good game, I will be the first person to come on here and credit that to him. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Bang on about how good he was. But at the same time, when somebody's shit, I'm we're not gonna just stay quiet and be like, oh, feelings.
This is why me and you have started this podcast. This is exactly what the reason is. We want to talk about things and we're going to own it. We're going to accept it. We're going to call it out, but I'm also willing to be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, I agree.
I'd love to. I'm not, I don't, I'd love to. I'd love to see it. But I definitely agree. Berhalter and Cubas, if Vanny is going to run this 3-5 or 2-5-3, is it?
3-5-2.
3-5-2.
No, it's 3-4-3.
Yeah, 3-4-3.
Yeah.
If he's going to... You guys can't do math. What fucking credibility do you guys have as a podcast? Don't even know a basic formation. If he's going to run it, I think Berhalter and Cubas are those 2 center mids.
Yeah.
I'd love to see this. So yeah, I guess let's close the book on St. Louis officially. And we're moving onwards. We've got 2 games coming up here. 2 games in 3 days.
So looking forward there, where are Kansas in the table?
Kansas right now are in 12th.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to pull it up again here. They're having a little bit more of a tougher go right now. So Kansas are 12th, and their away form is predominantly to blame. 2 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws.
Oh, and they've conceded a whack of goals as well. Wow. 49 goals conceded.
Okay, mate. Brian
goals.
White back in the Golden Boot race. Right there.
There it is. Brian White hat trick.
Right there. 5 goal difference made up.
I'm going to put the bet on. Brian White hat trick Wednesday night.
Do you think... Okay, so Houston is on Saturday night is obviously the tougher game.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Houston are in that playoff of the playoff to the playoff.
Yeah, they're very close by us, right?
Yeah, they're very, very close. So I think Wednesday we see maybe Vanny play a little bit more with house money in his starting 11.
Yeah.
And
I don't think Fafa will start. I think he'll save Fafa for the weekend. You know what? Even not Gold, sorry. I think he'll start Gold. Gold starts week in, week out. But I think White might get a break from the start. I think it might be someone that he brings in a little bit later into the game just to rotate him out. But then again, do you pull the most informed striker in the league out of the squad? Yeah,
you don't.
I suppose not.
I think we'll probably see maybe a midfield shift.
Vite coming in for Berhalter.
Maybe. I don't know.
Shop starting for Martins.
Shop for sure starts. Back three. You know what? I wouldn't even change the lineup.
No, honestly, if we could, I'd just play that lineup that we had out there week in, week out. But
I'd be like, listen here, guys. We'll get some extra Red Bull, and we'll give you a day off. But I need you for 90 minutes on Wednesday, and then Saturday you got to go again. But yeah, I think Vanny definitely. This is an opportunity against Kansas to play with house money. Maybe. Yeah. I'd actually see if Ali Ahmed would go back in. If he's back with the team, I'd actually throw Ali Ahmed.
You know what? That's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah,
I'd throw him in.
The team that played on Saturday there, and yeah, I think he'll make about 3 to 4 changes from that squad. Just save the actual big guns for.
I was gonna say Houston. Like maybe Javane Brown goes back in.
Yeah. Javane Brown in for Laborda.
Yeah.
I think the way I'd see it from looking at the team, I think I'd go Javane Brown in for Laborda, just give him a rest. Let Shot start for Martins. And then maybe have Ali Ahmed come in for Fafa. And just let him play up top. And
see what happens.
His pace on the wing there. And then do you give Raposo the day off and maybe let Adekube start if he's fit? Or is Adekube not fit enough to start and he's going to need to be brought in?
We have no idea. We have no idea, right? I think that's a good sub to make, is to bring in Adekube in. This is a really good. But that being said, I don't want to be sat there on Wednesday night down 2 goals because Vandy's come out with a weaker lineup. And then we're going to sit here next Sunday and be like, what the fuck was he doing? This was an opportunity to get 3 points. Like, I think either way, we're going to be hypercritical of what happens this weekend because this is a very good place to pull away. We can create a lot of distance between us and Houston, right?
I suppose, man. This is a thing, and this is a reason why we're not managers, because at the end of the day, he's got to decide what's more important. Getting almost like what you'd call a guaranteed 3 points about Sporting Kansas City. If we go out with our strongest squad, we should be beating them fairly easily. But then we might be tired for the Houston game.
Yeah.
But does our strongest squad against does our tired strongest squad against Houston still almost guarantee us a draw?
I don't know. This is why I love football. This is why I love football. And I mean,
balls to the wall against Sporting Kansas City. Fuck it.
And I mean, realistically, you have 10 days. Okay, 7 days off, and then Wrexham come to town for this overhyped friendly. Which I can't see Vanny playing anybody over 40 minutes, you know?
No, I think there'll be a lot of rotation in that. I think the players will want to play because I think it's a very good opportunity for the players for a little bit of exposure on their part. Totally.
It's a great exposure game, but I guess as supporters, me and you view a friendly as we are not in a position right now where we need friendlies. You know, we are not trying to get our fitness back. This is
even the All-Star bullshit. Like, we don't need that. We don't need the risk of Ryan Gauld going playing in an All-Star game and getting injured.
Yeah.
It's brilliant that he's going, but
I mean, it's cool. It is cool that Wrexham are coming to town. There's a lot of hype around. I mean, there's not a lot. Totally bought into the hype of Wrexham. I'll be the first person to say that. I'll also wait for Sean. I'll wait for Sean to clip this and be like, "Man, you love Wrexham." Like, like I totally have bought into the hype. But as a friendly, I don't know. We don't need a friendly right now. It kind of messes with our rhythm.
Yeah.
And then we head into the League Cup, which I think Vanny makes a run for.
Why not? Right? Like you may as well.
And I think this is kind of the positive because do you remember last year the Canadian Championship was wrapped up already? Was it not? I should have looked into this because as we're talking, I remember last year reading Vanny saying that, oh, we've already qualified for Champions League this year. The League Cup is something for me to experiment with. Like, I can try different things.
When does the League Cup start then?
What is that, July 30th?
Oh, yeah, so there's no chance that he gets wrapped up before the...
No, there's no chance. In fact, that Pacific game is actually going to be played after the final of
Maybe they've
the
moved
League Cup.
it for that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes
just to
sense,
avoid
right?
any sort of like tinkering and things, so you've got to go for it.
Because that's what he was saying last year was like, oh, we've wrapped up the League Cup. We've wrapped up the Canadian Championship and qualified for Champs League. You know, we can experiment with things in the League Cup because we're going to be playing against high caliber teams and fully getting a read on what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
But that being said, I fucking love this layout of the Leagues Cup. This gets me so fired up. I think this is awesome. I think this is exactly what the MLS needed the day it was announced.
No, me too. This I really enjoy this. I like the fact that we're playing all these teams from like all over the place. It's my only concern with it, and it was a concern last year, is I think it's very unfair on the South American teams that all the games are played in North America.
Stateside.
Yeah, stateside sort of thing, yeah. Yeah, that's the only shitty thing, but
yeah, it's cool that like I think that's the best part seeing the clubs in the Champions League is that like you can go to like Mexico and see like obviously we've never made the trip, but like seeing the Whitecaps play against Tigres is like a cool experience as a supporter. Like it's something different, right?
Yeah, it would be, for sure.
But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of what's coming up. And then what about for us? We have our second rendition of Whitecaps Fan TV. We'll have 2 and 3 back to back. So that's for us, which I'm excited for.
It should be a lot of fun. If you see us outside BC Place on
give us a holler
Saturday after the game, like just off Wednesday, after the game, or Saturday, I suppose. Yeah, come over and give us a shout.
We'll be there Wednesday, Saturday. I don't know where we're going to position up. Last time that whole warm-up party really messed with my groove because I was like, oh, I'll stand kind of in the middle of the not concourse, but like the lead up to BC Place. I was like, I'll stand in the middle. And then when we got outside, I was like, oh, it's all shut down. And it bottlenecked everything. And it kind of made it a little bit harder to navigate who wanted to talk to you and who was just trying to get the hell out of BC Place, like get onto the SkyTrain and get home. But yeah, we'll be there. So we're going to be there Wednesday and Saturday post game, which I'm excited for. Hopefully chat with some people. Maybe we'll have some regulars now wanting to chat with us.
That'd be nice.
And honestly, I know we're late in the podcast, so if anyone requested to wanting to chat with us, like I'm more than happy to take those requests too.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So that's coming up for us is like we kind of I guess we're going to wrap up looking ahead here. Like there's not really much more to analyze for us.
No, before we go there, Matt, I do want to add one thing, and it's just something that come up in the last 4 days that I've been digging around. There are a few rumors circulating at the moment, and it's from multiple outlets in both Spain and Portugal that teams are currently looking at Pedro Vite. And I know you think I'm full of shit, and I'm like but legit, there's 2 teams in Spain and 1 in Portugal that are currently looking at him and are thinking about offering $1.5 million for him.
What do they see that we don't?
1.5 million plus the 690 that he's on. Like, that is huge for the club.
It's going to be interesting, this transfer window. I actually feel that the Whitecaps are going to be active.
Yeah, me too.
1.5. Yeah, I've read reports too that South American teams were looking at him. I think, I don't know the team name, but I've seen it on different social media outlets that Vite probably will go, which will rest our arguments either for or against him.
Unless he starts fucking playing like prime Ronaldinho.
Well, then he's gonna go.
And we won't want him to go though.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, we won't want him to go, and he's gonna go, and we're gonna sat there and be like, "Oh, we're harsh on him, hey?"
Maybe we're why he left.
We're why he left. We're why he left. We're why Brian White fucking is gonna mess up the Golden Boot. Like, we're just the root of all bad. Like, fuck these guys.
No. I think that's good though. Like, even if he stays or goes, either way, if he's a Whitecaps player, we'll support him. If he leaves, we'll celebrate.
And I think that's it. If you're a Whitecaps player, we're gonna support you. If you're not a Whitecaps player, you're not with us.
As Michael Scott once said, "You're dead to me."
You're either with us or against us, and if you're against us, you're dead to us.
Yeah. Alrighty, man.
Well, let's tie a bow on this week's episode of Caps Cast, presented by Whitecaps Fan TV. And bye from me then.
Yeah. See you later.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Caps Cast, presented by Whitecaps Fan TV. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram listed below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content.